What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics where it is all about classic bodybuilding. And today we're going to do a leg workout with bands. And the first exercise is going to be on a chair at home. So if you have a chair, it should be a little higher than a usual chair because for me this is kind of low, but you can do a leg extension on this using one leg at the same time. So a unilateral exercise, making it more difficult to do. So what you want to do is loop a resistance band around something behind you at a low insertion point so that you can actually mimic the tension a normal leg extension would give you. So what you do, you go all the way back, and you go all the way up to here, and actually contract here for a few seconds to make it more difficult. And depending on the strength of the band, the more difficult it will become. And also you can put the chair more forward to make it even more difficult. So do at least 15 reps of this, and trust me, it already feels quite challenging. You really want to keep the tension on the quads, and it's very easy because the more you go upwards, the more tension is automatically created. So let's do a few reps of this.
Now this is a great way obviously to warm up the quads, and this is what I like to do before starting any leg workout, either the leg extensions first or the leg curls first, to warm up those specific muscles, the quads or the hamstrings.
Alright, the next exercise is going to be a leg curl, again using one leg at a time. Trust me, this one is even more difficult compared to the leg extension before. This time you will lay down, face down on the floor, preferably of course using some soft flooring like this mat. Then simply again have the resistance band looped around the pole behind you at a low exertion point. Then attach it around your ankle at the back. Then pretty much lay down. And what you want to do here, there's almost no tension, but the more I go here, the more tension is created. And trust me, this is already the maximum I can go, and it feels very difficult. So what you want to do is you want to enhance the difficulty. So the moment you feel you lose tension, you go back up, and here you contract for 3 seconds for 15 reps again. And trust me, that is difficult.
And yes, it is very difficult indeed, because literally you can see where I stop. That's where the tension becomes so large that I cannot continue the rep. So the tension is maximum, literally. And I'm doing the laying version, even though you can do the standing version. You can attach it the same way on the bottom and then simply do a standing leg curl. But I prefer this one because I have almost done the laying leg curl, and it provides automatic stabilization because you're laying on the floor.
Okay, we just did 2 isolation movements, one for the front, one for the back, but now we're going to do one for the inside, the inner thighs, the adductor muscles. So we're going to use again the same band at the bottom of a pole or something you can attach it to at the bottom. Then step into it, put it around your ankle from the side. Then it would be easier if you have something to hold on to on the other side, but it's not necessary. The further you stand away from the pole or where it's attached, the harder the exercise will become. So what you want to do, stand quite far, stretch all the way here, then go as far to this side as you can. That way you really create some tension on the inner thighs, and this one really works great for enhancing this amount of muscle mass.
So I actually used to do this exercise quite a lot before the gym I'm in now had cable machines at all. So we're also able to do this with a cable. I pretty much never use an adductor machine anyway, but doing it this way really allows you to contract those inner thighs, basically isolate them before doing any of the compounds after this.
Alright, this is going to be the last of the isolation movements, with the front, with the back, with the inside. Now it's time for the outside glutes. What you want to do is grab this band, stand on it wide, so you still have this left. The wider you stand, the more difficult it will become. Then, to increase the tension, you turn this around, you have even more tension created on the band. What you now want to do is side steps, with small steps, keeping your legs wide apart. So if you do this, the tension is lost. If that's not what you want, what you want to do is do very small steps like this, and the tension on the outside of the glute will be constant. And you want to do this for 20 steps to one side, and 20 steps to the other side.
Now, we first trained the adductors before, and this trains the abductors, which is the outer glute basically, so the outside of the leg, so the opposite of the inner thighs. And trust me, this is very challenging if you've never done this before. And I've done this quite a lot when I first trained here, when there were not a lot of machines at all. I did a lot of band work like this, and it really did help bring in my legs for the first few shows I did training in this gym.
Right, the next exercise is going to be the first true compound exercise for the legs. Again, just using one leg because two legs are simply too strong together. So we're first going to do a modified pistol squat using an elevated heel. So use anything, if you have a plate at home or something to elevate your heel with. I'm using this ATX squat block, but if you have something to elevate your heel with a few inches, that's perfect. What you want to do, normally a pistol squat is literally like this, but I'm a little bit too heavy for that, so what I'm going to do is a modified version. So put your foot behind your other foot like this, and kind of balances you out a little bit, allows that other leg to assist you. Put your arms forward as a counterbalance, and then go all the way to the bottom. Rest here, pause it, and then go all the way to the top. And this is pretty difficult because it's a very small stance, which means you have to balance yourself out. And not only your quads are involved, also your glutes, the hamstrings, even the calves, I feel, are involved here. So if you do 10 to 15 reps like this with every leg, that will be a great start for these compounds, and maybe even quite enough for a lot of people, because it's quite difficult to do this.
Now, obviously, if you are strong enough to do the regular pistol squats, you should definitely do those because they simply cause more tension on the quads. You're able to go a little bit deeper, causing more stretch on the glutes as well. But for some heavy people like me, that is a little too challenging.
Okay, the next exercise is going to be a classic one, the Nordic curls. And you don't actually need a band for this, it's just your body weight. But you kind of do need someone to hold you, to actually prevent you from falling over, or to put your feet under something very sturdy so you don't fall over either. So what you're going to do is sit on your knees, like this, and then someone should grab your ankles so you actually stay upright. So what you want to do is you are on your knees, someone grabs your ankles with all of their might so you don't fall over. Then you slowly go forward. You really tense the hamstrings, it's a very difficult exercise. And when you go to the bottom, you catch yourself, you put yourself back up like this. Now, if you believe you have strong hamstrings, you push yourself up, not as hard, but it really depends on how strong you are and how strong your partner is, of course. But trust me, this is a very challenging exercise to do.
Now, instead of pushing yourself up whenever you go down, you can also use like a broomstick to push yourself against the floor and use that to guide yourself up and down this movement.
Okay guys, it's time for the last upper leg exercise. Again, right after the Nordic curl, it's going to feel amazing for the hamstrings. It's going to be unilateral, stiff like deadlift or Romanian deadlift, depending on how you actually perform it. So what you want to do is you want to grab it like this. Put it on your foot, but you want to actually grab it a little closer to your foot so it actually becomes more difficult. Now you go all the way down and then go back up in here. You really feel the contraction in the glutes and the hamstring at the same time. You want to push your hip back until you feel the hamstring stretch and then go all the way up again. And it's actually a balancing exercise as well.
Now this feels pretty great because you don't really need a lot of weight to feel an optimal stretch in the hamstrings. If you just push your hips back and just using one leg, you already get a lot of tension on the hamstrings just with your body weight. And now with the band, when you go up, you don't need a dumbbell. The tension of the band will cause your hamstrings and glutes to contract very hard.
Alright, so this is going to be for the calves, just one exercise, which pretty much anyone can do because almost everybody has a staircase or something that's higher up on the floor where you can stand on like this. What you want to do, use one leg, preferably your weakest calf first, then have something to balance on. Go all the way down, really feel the stretch, and then go all the way up, feel the contraction, and contract here for 2 to 3 seconds at least to make it more challenging. And for a lot of people, that already is, you know, pretty much the maximum weight they can do, their own body weight, so you don't really need an extra weight, but if you do, you can always wear a backpack filled with water bottles, for example, to make it even more difficult.
Now, instead of wearing a backpack, if you don't have that, if you don't have that many water bottles, just hold something heavy in your other hand, the non-balancing hand, to make it even more challenging. But if you weigh heavy enough, this will be quite challenging anyway.
Okay guys, that was the leg workout. Obviously, there are many more leg exercises you can do, but these are specifically exercises that I like to do myself when I'm just in a gym, being able to do my regular routine. But these are translated and converted to resistant band workout you can do at home. So I really recommend you getting some of those bands, different strengths, different lengths, so you can use them for a lot of different exercises. Anyway guys, a lot more footage is coming. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to stay golden.